Now, with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. Creation and collaboration, which are really two keys to distance learning. This is me. My name is Stephanie DeMichele. These are all of the things that I am certified in, so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me about any of them. I'm a former high school English teacher, a gifted and talented coordinator and developer. I had my first paperless classroom in 2008. I've been a tech coordinator, a tech teacher, a district tech integration specialist, and I am currently a digital learning designer for the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio. So again, anything that you have any questions on, let me know. Okay. Also, like I said, I'm going to be occasionally checking the chat and stopping to ask for questions. If you have an emergency, if you're super confused, please unmute your audio and jump right in. I'm not going to be offended, I promise. Okay, so on my last webinar, we addressed the idea of instruction, based on the premise from my ebook and from a lot of resources called on Twitter, that you should be doing no more than 3 lessons per day with your students. So for example, one day should be English, math, and social studies, and the next day could be science, art, and world languages. But the rule of 3, no more than 3 lessons per day, and within each lesson, no more than 3 activities. And those activities should include 1, instruction, 2, creation/collaboration, and 3, a formative. And so today we're focusing on creation and collaboration. Why the rule of 3, you ask? Well, because the same work doesn't always go to the same homes. And as we're seeing, as from Seattle, which is now midway through, I think, they started much earlier than we did, maybe 3 weeks ago. Those of us who are 2 weeks into it, those of us who are 1 week into it, what we're seeing is that these are some of the real issues we're running into. Older siblings having to care for younger siblings. In my own home, I've got 2 kids. One's a senior in high school, one's home from college now, and we're all struggling with Wi-Fi availability and issues. And we're lucky we have it. There are kids who don't. Sharing a number of devices in the home, and kids with special needs. So like I said, that's if you weren't available in my last webinar, we did discuss this rule of 3, and that's where this comes from. Today on our agenda, we'll be discussing why creation is greater and better than consumption, how to connect with your students, some good advice, and then I'll offer some time at the end for questions and answers if you have any. Okay, before I get started, let me just quickly check the chat again. Okay, see that we do the lessons 3 for even younger students, absolutely, especially younger students. And if you, I'll tell you what, if you do go to my website and take a look at that ebook, I do have a section on there on how long you should set up for learning minute-wise based on age. From A. Owens, I'll tell you what, A. Owens, please send me an email. I actually have some resources I might be able to share with you, as I have a girlfriend in Florida who's a single mom to a 3-year-old, and she reached out to me yesterday, and I was able to provide her with some great resources. But we also might have some here today. Okay, let's get started with creation versus consumption. All right, I cannot say this enough. Please do not be tempted to take all of your worksheets and packets and study guides and simply transfer them online. And I will tell you why. Because we have Google, we have the internet, and that's why. And if you don't mind, I'm going to share with you a brief 3-minute chunk from a video chat. Like I said, I did a video last week with Matt Miller from Ditch That Textbook, and I'd like to share with you our thinking and what we discussed in terms of what it means to be more creative with online learning. I'm gonna go ahead and start that.
here's number 4. How can we get students creating instead of just consuming and remote learning? Because it's so easy to just send a bunch of links out and have kids read things and then go answer questions. And like, there's probably a lot of that that's going on right now, whether it's in digital form or in packet form or whatever. But I really believe, and I know, Holly Clark, my co-conspirator on this Online Learning Ideas website, she's really passionate about remaking assessments so that students are actually making something, creating something digitally with what they've learned, and to be able to show what they know. And Steph, I see you nodding your head. Is this sort of clicking with you?
Yeah, I mentioned it to my ebook. I said, listen, we need to remember that the internet exists. So try to design lessons and activities that are ungoogleable. And what that means then is, guess what? You let them create. So I think we're tempted to take our worksheets and our study guides and put them all online. But I am a big fan of questions. So for example, instead, we always put those I can statements in our classrooms.
Right.
I can multiply mixed fractions. I can define mitosis.
Mm-hmm.
What if we took those statements and made them questions? Can you define mitosis? Show me. And that's all we said. Imagine if we just, show me. Whatever you want. Screencastify. A rap video. However you want to do it. So I think we always need to remember, as I watched, I'm gonna say this out loud and in public, and I'm gonna out my kid. I was watching him doing online learning today, and all he did was go on Google and look up the answers.
Mm-hmm. Yep. If that's the way that the lesson is built, then, it's like, I heard somebody say once that every process is perfectly designed to get the results that it gets. Ooh. Think about that one and let that simmer in your brain for a minute. Every process is perfectly designed to get the results that it gets. So if the process of the activity that we assign, it is designed to get the results that it gets. So. Sorry if I made your mind blow there a little bit. That wasn't me. That was a friend of mine that shared that with me.
Okay. So thank you for bearing with me, but I didn't want to necessarily have to repeat myself. So yes, the idea is, what's our solution to having kids just look things up on the internet and fill in the blanks? And that's frustrating for us. So the best way to get them doing things is to have them create. Remember, creation is now the highest level of Bloom's taxonomy. That shows the highest level of thinking. So now is the time to start letting our students create. And this, I saw this on Twitter the other day. Rich Sizz, who's from the 4 o'clock faculty, I follow him on Twitter, great guy, great professional development, said this is the time now, while we're all quarantined, is to let students engage in their passions. So let's start exploring passion projects. You know what, kids? What's something you've always wanted to learn? Now's the time. You want to learn how to bake a cake? You want to learn how to build a drone? You want to learn how to make a Death Star out of Legos? Now is your time to learn, because the process of learning is really super important. And in fact, this is a link. I've provided it on that Google Doc. Paul Solars, who, again, another person I follow on Twitter, love this guy. He is like the king of passion projects. And so this website that I've provided for you in the link, what he has here are the step-by-steps for his passion time. And it's just real simple directions for creating passion projects in our classroom. So it's not like a free-for-all. Hey, kids, just go do what you want. They still have to check in. You're still giving them decisive feedback. You're still guiding them. So as you think about how you want to instruct kids over the upcoming weeks, and as we know, it's now been extended, go ahead and really think about the idea of passion projects. So this website's a good place to start. Also, John Meehan, he wrote a book this past summer called Edumentum, which is about gaming in instruction. And what he said in this Twitter chat, I think 2 Saturdays ago, was that coronavirus will help schools realize the absurdity of many traditional assignments and the arbitrary nature of many curricula. Hey, homework can be copied. Guess what? It's easy. I outed my kid. He's just and he and his buddies are copying each other's homework. Essays can be plagiarized. You can download anything from the internet. So here's the best solution to that. Allow students to create. Excuse me. Again, there's another link here. John created, and this is awesome. And he even said on Twitter, steal this idea. He created this template called Edflix. You can push it out to your students. He gives you the directions. And this is their template for passion projects. So here's where they give a sneak, this slide is where students give a sneak peek of the content that they're going to provide. And on this slide in Google Slides, they're highlighting the topics, and they can put links to videos or links to websites or anything that has to do with their passion project. And this is, like I said, there's a link to that, and all you need to, it's in our Google Doc, and all you need to do is go ahead and copy it, customize it. If you're familiar with Google Slides, I think there are a couple people on the internet who call Google Slides the Swiss Army knife of collaboration and learning, and I will totally 100% agree with that. Okay, so we've talked about passion projects and the idea of creativity. Before I start showing you some more ideas, let me go and check the chat real quickly and see what we've got going on there. All right. Or if anyone wants to take this opportunity to unmute and ask a question, by all means. Like I said, I'm not going to get to all these questions now, but I most certainly will address them after the webinar. Okay. Oh, the second speaker in the video was Matt Miller from Ditch That Text. Oh, good. Somebody asked it. Okay. Anyone have any questions that they want to unmute and ask before I continue? Okay. So, yes, by all means.
Hi, it's Stacy. For a passion project, I have a study skills class for 8th graders.
Yes.
And I have to ditch our book that we were reading. It's just not going to work out now.
Yes.
So how long were we talking for a passion project? Are we talking a couple weeks? Is that, what would you recommend?
It's up to you. I would. I mean, you really want to get, here's the thing. Think about capstone projects. It's sort of the same idea. You have to put in the research. You have to vet sources. You have to do writing. You have to come up with a draft. You have to get feedback from your instructor and guidance. You have to do the creation. So that's videos, that's writing, that's reflection. It's a digital portfolio. It's all of those things. So at the very least, yeah, 3 weeks, I would imagine.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And as you saw in the video, if kids don't have a passion project, go through your I can statements and ask them, okay, I know you can't, but can you? And figure out a way to show me, whether it's a tutorial video. Listen, I was working with a 5th grade class last year. 25% of the kids in the class, in a 5th grade class, had their own YouTube channels. So this is a creative generation. Allow them to go ahead and do those things. Okay, so now we're going to look at some really easy ways to be on passion projects, to talk about the ways that we can do some of these things. So one of the easiest things that we can do are choice boards. So for example, this is a choice board or a tic-tac-toe board. So you can do it like a bingo board or a tic-tac-toe board, however you choose. This is a tic-tac-toe board I created for a 5th grade class. So the teacher came to me and said, and this was a while ago, but she said the kids had to write their persuasive essay. That's part of the Common Core. It was required, but she wanted them to be more creative. So in a choice board like this, you take the center square, that's the non-negotiable. So the kids have to write their persuasive essay. But then they have 2 other choices. They can do, diagonally, horizontally, vertically, in more creative ways. Seriously, if you Google choice board, you're going to find a whole bunch. But all you need to do with this one, feel free, is just to go File and make a copy. Please do not send me requests to edit. I know it says up here request to edit. I don't want to edit this document. All you need to do is go to File, make a copy. I also ask, because this is also good digital etiquette, to please keep the footer there. You can certainly add to it and say that you've modified it, but this was a template designed by Casey Bell from Shake Up Learning, and I give her credit. And then I do share that I changed the content. Feel free to make copies, but don't delete this footer because we want to teach good digital etiquette. So sharing is caring. So that is a link. It's very simple. You can create allow for all kinds of creative ideas for students, a video, an ebook, a website, a digital poster, a comic strip. So these are ideas that you're certainly free to borrow. By all means, that is a choice board. Questions about a choice board? Okay. Next, you have digital menus. These were created by Tommy Spall, who I follow on Twitter. He came up with the idea of these menus. And what I like, his idea of a menu is entrees, okay, are your main creation. So the thing that the kids have to do, so they can choose from an entree. Do they want to do Google Slides, a Google Drawing? Do they want to do a Google Doc, a Powtoon, an Edu Creation, a Thing Link? So those are the things that they have to do. Those are the main creations. Then they have appetizers, and the appetizers are things that they record, whether it's audio or video, and he gives them some tools to use. Sides on the menu are teacher-led activities, sort of good for feedback. Beverages are the non-digital options, so still allowing kids to create with their hands. And desserts are places where you take the kids' stuff and put it there for them. So again, same thing, Tommy made this for everybody. All you have to do is go file, make a copy, and you have access to it. And you click on it in Google Slides and it'll take you. So I want to learn what are the directions for my Google Slides? And he walks the kids through, he walks the kids through the process. Now I'm zipping through these today and I do apologize for that, but that's why I have the Google Doc. So you can sort of cherry pick and see what makes you most comfortable. By all means, you should not be doing all of these things. I want you to pick one or two things that you think might apply to your students. Also, Tommy updated this digital menu for our Gen Zers, and he created a Fortnite digital menu, which is super fun. And same thing, in Google Slides, all you would need to do is do a file and make a copy for yourself, and it would automatically go into your Google Drive. But see what he has here in Fortnite. So wherever you land, these are things you do with G Suite. The white circles are things you do with web tools. The blue circles are non-digital options, and the pink circles are teacher-led activities. So you are free. Again, Tommy is the greatest guy. He's from Texas. He loves sharing it, but same thing. Please practice good digital etiquette or netiquette and leave this slide. If you do copy this and customize it for your own needs, please be sure to leave that so we give credit to the creators. Next up are Googlinks, and I love Googlinks. It's a Google Drawing with links in it. It's like a Thing Link, but sometimes Thing Link, you have to have, some of it's free and some of it's freemium, where you have to buy some of their activities. So what I like about a Googlink, and this is from our own Eric Kurtz, who lives here in Ohio near Akron, you can allow students to create interactive posters with Google Drawings. So when you think about Google Drawings, it's only one page. Think of Google Drawings like a poster, but you can make it interactive, just like you would a Thing Link. And in this blog post, Eric walks you through the steps of how to do that. I think this is perfect, especially for littles. All they need to do is you give them a little digital poster. And so here's an example that Eric put together. It's a very simple one. It talks about the parts of a flower. So what he did is he downloaded a picture of a flower into a Google Drawing. And then what he did is put these links on top of it. And the links, click on, whoops, sorry. This one is not, I apologize for that. It is not clickable. He doesn't have it clickable right here. in the directions. I apologize for that. Let me see if he's got an actual one here to go through. Sorry. But my point being, and I've created one, I can bring it up for you. But anyway, you click on these links and it takes you to a website or it takes you to YouTube videos. And, oh, here it is, to open the Googlink as a Google. Here we go, sorry. So here's an example. Your students could show what they know about the parts of a flower, have them find an image, have them label it, and then have them find hyperlinks or YouTube videos that explain their thinking. They could include a Google Doc where they write about what they know. So it's like a little bit of a report. So Googlinks are super easy ways to get started with students creating. Okay. Up next, caption this. This is a great activity from Matt Miller at ditchthattextbook.com. Caption this. Again, it's a Google Slides activity or Google Drawings, which are useful for creative work, especially if you are a Google district. If not, PowerPoint slides, or you can do that too with the PowerPoint. And now my internet, now I kicked both my kids off the internet, so this shouldn't be taking so long to load. Hopefully you're able to click on it and see it rather quickly. But the whole idea behind a caption that, let's try that again, or caption this, is where you put an image on a slide and the students add their own thinking to it. So what does this scene represent? And I apologize, I might be having some internet issues myself and it's not showing up. Again, I'm hoping that you're able to click on it and view it yourself. Matt gives 4 great ideas in his blog post, and it's a nice step-by-step guide to walk through it yourself. Okay, apparently it's being difficult and not wanting to connect. I apologize for that. Another option you can do with Google Slides are ebooks. I did this with another, I was embedded with a 5th grade class for a while as a digital coach. I was embedded with one. And instead of teaching about the Aztecs, oh goodness. Okay, instead of teaching about the Aztecs, the teacher said to the students, she put them into groups, she gave them topics about the Aztecs, and they wrote their own ebook using Google Slides. And I'll show you a quick trick as how to do that. So for the table of contents or the topics that she gave her students, she said, why am I going to teach? Why can't they teach each other? And then we tweeted this out to the world. And once the kids realized that this was an authentic artifact of learning that was going out into the world, they became very careful about what they were saying and their sentence structures and their punctuation. There's a saying that if students create for you, it's going to be good enough. If they create for the world, it's going to be good, great even. So as you can see, they added their images, they wrote, they did the research. All the teacher did was supply them with some kid-friendly websites. And this is where they did their writing. And I'll show you how to do this. It's very simple to make an ebook, very simple to do an ebook. In fact, let me open up, all you do in Google Slides. Now I did that from there. If you are more comfortable going into your Drive, clicking New, and then going to Google Slides, you can open a new Google Slide. And what you do here when you get to Google Slides is you go to File, Page Setup. And you just change it to like a regular piece of paper. So 8.5 by 11 inches. And then this turns into a blank page. And you can change the layout, title only. And then you have 2 options to publish it, which is super easy. You can go so use the version we saw was a PDF. You go back to File and you can download it. So you can download it as a PDF if you just wanted to be able to scroll through it like we just saw. Or you can also go ahead and publish it to the web. So it almost becomes an automatic website, which is interesting. So all you need to do is provide a link to people. And if you click publish, You'll publish them, and then it's just a clickable link that anybody can access. So it's super easy to do it that way. And again, this video, I know, like I said, I'm going through this quickly and I do apologize, there's so much, but you'll be able to see this video later on my YouTube channel, and you can pause it, rewind it, go through anything yourself. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break here, take a look at the chat, or if anyone wants to jump in with a quick question, please, now is the time. Okay. Yes, good habit to start early. Arnita, you said you're still having trouble with the link. I'm not sure which link. Could you, let's see, could you, is it the link?
I was able to get on the Google Doc link now.
Oh, you are, or you're not?
Yes.
Oh, good.
I am.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay. Molly, excellent question. Ebook, need to cite each image used. Well, I'll tell you something here. Let me go back to what I just created, that blank doc, or that ebook. Here's the beauty of Google. And if you're a G Suite district, you're a lucky one. Because when I go to insert an image, and I go to search the web, Google doesn't take me out, or this, I'm not searching outside a web. So any of the images that I'm searching for here are public domain, free to use, open to the public. They do not need to be cited. But if you're interested as to how we would cite it later, I will answer that in the transcript, the chat transcript. Yeah, all of these images are free to be used.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, my pleasure. And it's nice because you don't have kids like going, oh, you know what happens? Sometimes they just they Google an image and oh Lord, goodness, what comes up. So it's nice to be able just to stay within the app itself.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Okay, let's talk. Okay, one of my favorites is stop motion animation. This would be great for any age. Give them time to play. I think that's the best part about creativity, is allowing students to play. I do think that's our silver lining in all of this. I know we think we need to cover standards. I know we think we need to cover grade. I know, but I think we should find the silver lining in this, that this is the time to play. So stop motion animation, if you're old like I am, if you're a Gen Xer, like I am, or even older like a baby boomer, you remember flipping the books to get your stop motion animation. This woman here, Mrs. Keelan, has a video tutorial for how your students can create stop motion animation with Google Slides. She's got a nice step-by-step guide, but here I just wanted to share with you a quick video where she shares some student examples.
I want to show you some examples of stop motion animation created by students. These are going to be third grade examples. The task I gave them was to review any concept they had learned this school year in science, math, reading, or social studies. So you first just go to File and Publish to the web for it to have the look of stop motion animation. I leave it at 3 seconds. And then I click on Start Slideshow as soon as the player loads. I click on this and do Control-C to copy that web address, and then Control-V up here. Right here where you see 3,000, that means it's going to be 3,000 milliseconds between each slide, which would be entirely too long for stop motion animation. That's that 3 seconds. And we're going to get rid of one of the zeros, and it'll be 300 milliseconds now. I'm pushing enter to get it started. So this is just a life cycle of a tree and also a little bit of a food chain. They had some images of meadows in the background and a deer PNG so that it looked good on top of it. This student wanted to review how to attack the passage for the reading EOG, what their teacher had taught them. And I like how there's the speech bubbles and the thought bubbles explaining the whole process. And they did it by adding a new word each slide. This next one, you'll notice the tongue of the frog. This was a shape that they duplicated and then moved from slide to slide. And then finally, this is the solar system, showing that movement of the planets going around the sun, and even the Happy New Year when it makes.
Okay, those were made by third graders. So anybody who says our kids can't do this, give them the opportunity. Let them play and try. So that website shows you how kid, like I said, she's got a nice step-by-step guide. I recommend you try it yourself. I attended a conference 2 years ago where I learned how to make stop motion animation, and I went home that night and played and made my own, and it was so fun. And in fact, my son was sitting next to me on the couch, and he got into it and made his own too. It's lots of fun for kids to do. I also recommend these tips from this guest blog post by Jake Miller. You might be familiar with him. He's also a Cleveland area guy. He's really great, does these edu-gifs or GIFs, whichever you prefer to call them. Oh, internet, curse you. Anyway, but he's got some great shortcut tips for creating stop motion animation. I encourage you to share those with your students. Speaking of, I'll take this little break right now to say, you do not need to know how to do these things. All you need to do, the kids have time. Give them the website. Say, try making a stop. Who can make it? Watch this. These kids, it was my favorite thing to do when a kid would ask me, when I was still in the classroom, and a student would say to me, well, you didn't teach me how to do an iMovie, or you didn't teach me how to do stop motion animation. And I would say to the kid at the time, this is how many years it's, who taught you how to play Minecraft? What class did you take to learn how to play Fortnite? And the kids would always come back, well, I watched YouTube videos, or I talked with friends. Exactly. And you have that opportunity as well. This is the time to discover and explore and play. Please don't put an added burden on yourself that you think that you need to know how all of these things work. You don't. All you need to know is that you can put it out there and there's resources for your kids to follow. Okay, next we'll go to Choose Your Own Adventure with Google Slides. So with Choose Your Own Adventure, just like those Choose Your Own Adventure books, oh man, am I bumming out right now. Hopefully you're able to click on it. But it was the idea, remember, based on this section, you went to another section on the book based on how you answered. With the Choose Your Own Adventure series in Google Slides, same thing. You pose a problem, you branch out and have two answers, and based on your answer, you click a certain button to go to a specific slide. So that's how that works. Oh, not saying I'm offline. I hope I didn't lose all of you being offline. Okay, let's see here. Do I still have people? Hold on. I'm mortified. Oh, good. Thank you, Molly. Phew. I am mortified. Gen Xers unite. Okay. Thank you. I'm mortified that my internet is doing this because I specifically yelled at my children and said, don't you dare get on the internet. Okay. Thank you. Now, someone had asked earlier about a platform. So right now we've really just been talking about Google Slides and drawings, and I'm a big fan of simplicity is key. We don't need fancy platforms to do things. But if you do want to try something out or let your kids try something out, I highly recommend Book Creator. And as I've said in the past, I do not recommend tools that are hard to do. I'm probably not going to be able to connect again. People, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. Thank goodness you have the links in your own homes. So with Book Creator, it is a tool where you can create actual books. And you will be up and running in 10 minutes. In fact, was it my last webinar? You can go ahead and watch it, or even if you just go to the YouTube link, I've got a link to the notes. Oh, I'm bumming. Hold on one second. I'm just going to quickly text my people to make sure no one's on the internet. Okay. But with Book Creator, you can allow students to go ahead and create their own books. And you can also allow them to create comic books to explain a concept, to explain a thought, to do any of those things. So it's a nice way that you might want to try it. Hold on here. Okay, texting my people, telling them to get off the internet if they are on. What I've also, during this time of COVID-19, you'll see some links here where it says that there are some resources. So that's, again, the beauty of the internet. People have all kinds of ideas to share. So by all means, go ahead, look at those resources to inspire you, created by other teachers who are using it pre-K through 12. So you could go ahead and do that. Also, there's a link here to book creator support if you have any questions about it. And like I said, during this time of COVID-19, they are offering it free until either the end of the school year or till July 1st. I'm not entirely sure which. But if you can click on there, I promise so once you create an account, here we go. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank you, baby Jesus. Okay, sorry if I offended anybody, separation of church and state. But what you can do, I just wanted to show you some examples, is that you can create comic books, you could create your own books. When you do create your own account, what they'll give you, and it's so awesome sauce. I have an online class right now that I'm teaching in Book Creator. What they give you is a getting started with Book Creator interactive tutorial, and it helps you get started with it. And it's a great tool, and you will literally be up and running with it in 2 minutes. So by all means, and now my full library isn't showing you. I wanted to show you what an actual comic book would look like, and I don't know why I'm showing, but again, internet, sorry. Super easy. I love this tool. I cannot speak highly of it enough. Your kids will fall in love. And finally, as we finish up here with our creative options, I wanted to share this tweet that I saw, let's see, March 22nd. I've included, if you are on Twitter, if you're not, I've included the link to the entire thread because I think this is a question we're all having. Are you assigning work with due dates and grades during this time or some variation of this? And what I found as I started going through this thread, and I didn't want to read everything to you, but I did want to share the idea of working for mastery. A lot of teachers are foregoing grades and due dates and doing pass fail or a week at a time and just mostly focusing on feedback, activities, links, something. I love this. We're posted. Students have something to look forward to each day. I love his idea of finding a sense of connectedness. So I think, especially with the idea of equity, how do you grade? How do you assign due dates with all of this uncertainty out there? And that's why I think allowing for passion projects or creativity or taking a standard and allowing students to do any of those things creatively is really a great and reasonable option at this time. All right. Did I have anything? Yeah. Okay. So I shared out that tweet. Okay. Take a break before we move on to how to collaborate during this time. And if anyone has any questions that they want to unmute and go ahead and ask, I'm available. Okay. I am going to forge ahead now with connecting. I did mention I was a former high school English teacher. If you have, one of my favorite books of all times is Howard's End. And the epigraph to Howard's End says, only connect, and it goes more and more. But that always stuck with me, the idea that we are social beings. And I think we're seeing that now more than ever, the idea of connecting. And that's why, I mean, I don't know what it's like in your own homes, but we've already done, in my own home, 4 Zoom connections with family. 2 were happy hours where we all got together. 1 was a birthday party. So we are social beings. And your kids, especially at this time, are probably missing the heck out of you. And they're missing the heck out of each other. So we need to find ways, and one of the things that I've noticed as I've been teaching online now and designing my own online courses is I really do need to include a space for socialization. We're social beings. Oh goodness, it's 12:50. I'm running out of time. Okay, so I'm asking you to build in spaces to share and to collaborate within your creativity. And there are ways to do that. We're going to, and so the first way to do that is the Google slide deck. The Google slide deck, and that's what this is. This is what I asked you guys to do at the start, this Google slide deck. It's where you give everybody a slide. Now you can't, there were a lot of people today, I said, just pick a slide. You can assign numbers so that all the kiddos, just give a number so no one messes up anyone else's slide. But a slide deck is like a big giant packet where you're collecting work. That's all I asked you to do, was to create something and to share. And that's what and that's what you all did, which was great. You all kind of shared. And then we all collaboratively get to look at each other's work. And not only that, I can also say to somebody, I could put in a comment feature here to Sean, let's say, sorry, Sean, I'm not intentionally picking on you, but when I highlight a piece of text, I can hit the comment feature in a Google slide and give him feedback. And it's a way for all of us to still connect virtually. I think a Google slide deck is unmatched in ease of use and being able to connect with everybody. So I want to show you a quick example I made for a 4th grade class. There was a piece missing based on the new standards for 4th grade science. The life cycle of plants was missing from old textbooks. And the teacher said to me, how am I going to teach this? I said, let them teach it. Let's give them some websites and they can create their own ebook. We created a Google slide deck. So I created a template. And again, you have a link to this, so feel free to borrow. I put the instructions in. I created a template. I created an example for them to follow. And I don't have, because of privacy issues for this, I don't have the kids' actual examples because I'm not at that school anymore, but just provided each kid a slide and said, how would you teach with the I came up with it. I said, the textbook doesn't have it. We need to write a new piece for the textbook. We need a page. How do you do it? And all the kids came up with it. Very simple to do. All you do is create yours. And here's another example. This was something I made for a 3rd grade class, vocabulary slide deck using the Frayer model. Cover, I always put in a slide with directions on it for students to refer back to. And I always include a model for everyone to follow. So I created this whole, it's my family texting me, telling me they're not on, they're off. Okay, sorry about that. And sometimes I might also go a little above and beyond with my directions. And I actually created this in a Google drawing and then uploaded it to Google Slides. So that was super easy to do. And then I created all of these slides and assigned the kids a number. And it was a way more interesting method of doing our vocabulary. So again, that's in the links. Feel free to make a copy of that. Just file, make a copy. Matt Miller from Ditch That Textbook. Oh, I need to fix that link, and I will. He has some great tips. I doubled up on the link. I apologize for that. I will fix that link. In fact, I'm going to put a little note here to myself in the comments so I don't forget. Okay, but he has some great tips, especially how to lock down a slide so that students can't make adjustments to it. So that's really helpful. All right, for all you people who teach littles, this girl is the bomb, Christine Pinto. She actually wrote a book, Google Apps for Littles, and her website itself, internet, curse you, but what she has is a website, Christine Pinto, and she's got some great templates that she's letting you borrow for your littles with Google Slides so they can create and show and share their work as well. I apologize, people, from the bottom of my heart. I cannot control this, and I know we're all having the same issues, which is why I'm glad you have the Google Doc there. And feel free, please, to check out Christine. Like I said, she's got collaborative slides here in small groups. You can push those out via Google Classroom, via your website, via an email. Anyway, oh, my cousin who teaches at a inner city school in Toledo, found a way, said this is how she's reaching her kids, through PlayStation. These kids may not have computers, but she's pushing out Google Classroom because you can get to the internet through PlayStation. So that was her small hack that I thought I would share. All right, as far as the tools, I cannot recommend these enough. Flipgrid, Parlay, Back Channel Chat, and Padlet. Now, I don't want to run over our 1 hour, and I know that we're getting close to that, and I hate to do that to you. I have a lot of stuff here. So Flipgrid, I've got all of the links here for you to get started, but if you're not familiar with Flipgrid, you should be. It's the best tool out there. This is the third webinar I've done, and it's the third time I've mentioned Flipgrid because it's free and amazing and awesome sauce. And really, it's social learning, it's connecting, and you will find tons of activities and ways to get started with the Getting Started guide. They've also created a link for remote learning with Flipgrid. Parlay. I used to, as an English teacher, give Socratic seminars. Parlay allows you to do that online. They call them roundtable discussions. You give students something to read, and then they interact with each other and answer questions. You can do a live roundtable, or you can do an offline roundtable and get back to it, and kids can work at it at their own. And again, all of these links here, super easy to get started if you wanted to. Back Channel Chat, easy peasy tool. If you just wanted kids to be able to chat back and forth as you're watching a video together or working on something together, and you can also get a transcript of that chat. Padlet, if you're familiar with it, is it's like online sticky notes. And I looked, I'm not entirely sure that they're offering it for free during COVID-19 and during our quarantine and distance learning, which bums me out a little bit, but I put it on here because it is still good. And if you're new, they'll give you 3 free walls for your sticky notes. And then then you have to pay for more. So I always just archive, I'll go up on Padlet and use it, what I have for free, and then archive it and open up a new one. That's kind of how I get around that. The last couple of things I wanted to mention, oh, and Google Classroom. If you have Google Classroom, it's very simple to just ask comments. I do it all the time in my own online learning. So by all means, just simply use a Google comment. Let kids react and comment and talk to each other. I can hear you guys. I can hear you saying, okay, Steph, this is all great, but what about grading? How am I supposed to grade that choice menu? How am I supposed to grade all of these things? Well, we've talked about it. Maybe this isn't the time for grading. Maybe it's just the time for feedback. I have a great tweet here by Rick Romelli. And again, I've included it for the thread. If you've heard of him, he's like an education guru. I'm not connecting. This has just gone horribly wrong and my heart's breaking. But where he talks about the idea that, like we just mentioned, is grading really, is this the time to be doing it? And perhaps it's not. And with that said, if you follow Jennifer Gonzalez, she has a blog called, and a Twitter account called The Cult of Pedagogy. She's created something that I find brilliant. As a former English teacher, I used to have a rubric that was like 25 squares. Really? Because some high school kids really gonna go through my rubric, all those 25 squares. We kind of over rubric. She came up with the idea of the single point rubric, and she's got it there for you, and it's just for feedback. And I thought, wow, this would be perfect. I apologize, not connecting. The single point rubric. And she's got a model for you to follow, and you can borrow her template, and it's just simply for feedback. It's 1 point. Did you meet these assessments or did you not? And it works great for that because it allows you to go ahead and create that single point rubric and take a look at it. So with that said, we are at 1 o'clock. We've gone an hour. I've thrown a lot at you, but I want to point out a few things. So we talked, sorry, so here was the Rick Wormelli and the Jennifer Gonzalez. Oh, my good advice. This is how I end all of it. My good advice moving forward from today. There's been a lot thrown at you. There's a lot of cool stuff. I'm asking you to pick one thing today, one thing that wowed you in our semi-connected webinar today. One thing that wowed you, and get good at that. This is not the time to start taking on a whole bunch of stuff. One thing today that wowed you, one thing today that you think you can manage with you and your students, and get good at it. And then move on to something new. There's a whole list of resources. You got plenty of time. These are resources that aren't even necessary for distance learning. You can use them next year. 2, baby steps. Go a little bit at a time. You don't need to know how everything works. Perfect example, Flipgrid. I love Flipgrid. I still have not used every tool available to me in Flipgrid. I'm just getting good a little bit at a time at what I can do. 3, the digital playground. Go and play. Try these things out. Encourage them. Today, I don't care, link it. Hey kids, who wants to play with stop motion animation? Let's all play together. Talk about creating a sense of collaboration and community and connectivity with your students. Put it in your Google Classroom and let's all play together. And finally, be a superhero to your students, but be a vulnerable superhero. If you're a fan of Marvel, which we are in this house, remember, Tony Stark is Iron Man. He's impermeable. He can do everything. But then when the going gets tough in Endgame and Infinity Wars, he has to rely on others. We don't always need to be the expert anymore. We can be vulnerable superheroes to our students. Allow them to teach us. Allow them to help us with ideas. It's very important. I have not allowed a ton of time for Q&A. I apologize so much. This has been so much. But if you have any questions that need to be answered immediately, please unmute your microphone and do so now. Again, I will go as soon as this ends and I go yell at my people for taking up the internet. I am going to go through the chat, the Q&A chat, and I will answer all of the questions that are available. So if you have any questions right now, please go ahead and unmute. I'm willing to listen. Bueller? Anybody?
I just want to thank you.
Pardon me?
I just want to say thank you because I was looking for stuff for the little ones because I do K-12 into ESL in a small district.
Yes.
So I have the middle school and high school kids through Google Hangout, but the babies were like, okay, that's my challenge because they're more, tactile.
Yeah.
They're more hands-on, and
Yes.
So getting to them was kind of hard. It's like, okay, how can I do this?
Yeah.
I could, through their parents' phone or something, but I wanted it to be more, through the school district more than.
Christine Pinto is your girl. That's if you got to have one spot, it's going to be Christine Pinto for you. I promise.
And then my own boys, like your kids, they have like a Flipgrid and Zoom, and the other one was teaching me the other day how to do Flipgrid because I didn't know how.
I had my son, my college kid said to me, Mom, why aren't you using Discord? For those of you who have gamer kids or gamer husbands, Discord is an app that the kids are using now just to chat back and forth, those kids. But he's teaching me, so yeah, we got to learn from each other.
Yeah, 10-year-old was teaching me how to bribe him with candy because usually I try to limit it.
TikTok. Hey, I said to my kids, you're going to teach me TikTok. I taught you how to tie your shoes. Teach me TikTok.
Yeah, I changed your diaper and I fed you. You owe me.
Exactly. Well, thank you.
You're still alive because of me. So.
Exactly. Right? Thank you for that.
Thank you again.
My pleasure. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Well, I've given you a lot. I will go through the transcript and refer back to this document because I will have a link to the answers to your questions and anything I can provide you. Thank you for your patience today. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the job you are doing. Take care of yourselves and your family. Stay safe, stay sane, stay sanitary. I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.